Good evening, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to All Things Division III Soccer with Simple Coach and Jackie. You know who I am. Probably you don't know who I am. I'm Simple Coach, and you know who that is. Definitely, that's Jackie. She's it's like 9 o'clock here in the evening, and she's hunkering down for bed. So, hey, look, yesterday, this morning, last night, I don't know what the timing of it was, but the women's national team played the Netherlands in the 2023 Women's World Cup. I just so happened to watch. I just so happened to take notes. I just so happened to get a test LED lights, a test strip to see if my YouTube studio could handle the awesomeness, and as you can see, got the red, white, and blue going. So I'm actually thinking this is something I'm going to go with. So I got grand plans to make this quite the place. But that was my excuse. My notes were the other. I just figured I would do a quick special edition of Injured Time to go through some of the things that I saw with the women's national team. And probably like many of you, I think the ones who actually try to look at the game, I don't know, I'd call it a little bit of confusion. I'm not sure it was a great performance. Maybe you can argue the last 15 minutes, 20 minutes of the second, well, not the last, but 20 minutes in the second half, maybe. But I thought the first half we were kind of taken to school. So I'm going to break this down in multiple ways. I made a bunch of clips, probably illegal. I pilfered them, the highlights, got some of those. I also have highlights from, I think it's, I got it from YouTube, and I sort of finagled it to copy it, and so I'm going to use that. As I just don't want to talk. I see some of those guys just talking to talk, and I'm just doing this because I want to. So I'm going to show video, and I'm going to try to draw on it. So stay tuned, because this could either be super great or an absolute disaster. Okay, so first up, I'm just going to run through really quick the highlights and just tell you, give you some of my thoughts. I am going to have to put on my glasses because it's dark in here and I'm kind of blind. All right, so let me fix that. Okay, so let me just go back a second. Not there, but let's just start it. Because the first opening is kind of interesting right here, and look at what the Netherlands is doing. It's hard to tell, but I think that's Sullivan right here with the ball. And you can see they sort of do this corral in which they're forcing everything to try to get outside. And actually, this is literally at the very beginning of the game, 5 minutes in. Not too much to say, but in hindsight, you're like, that's just sort of interesting how that all happens. So how it plays out. So anyhow, so this is their first sort of look to goal. And the obvious one to me is just sort of the numbers. Like, look at the numbers of the Netherlands in the back. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 players back to 6, 7 U.S. players. But I think probably more interesting is like how close together everyone is and how vertical north and south everyone's running. Nobody's sort of making runs to support the ball here. They're all just sort of looking to, hey, can I get the ball going forward? And yeah, I'll touch on that. And actually, the interesting thing to me about this is that everyone's like, "Oh, she just almost." I don't think that was intentional because if you keep watching right here, look, it's like defense barely gets it, throws off the other defender, gets it through her legs, and Alex Morgan almost gets something out of nothing. So anyhow, let's keep going. Actually, I thought that was a very good play, right? Because again, it's kind of blurry, so I'm having trouble. Not sure who this is making a run through, pulling this defender out, opening up this space over here, and it's one of the few times, especially in the first half, where you see the U.S. exploiting space that somebody has cleared out, and that leads to this, right? And I think that's Haran right there, running through. Great ball. Or that was Sullivan, I'm not sure. This is the goal. And to me, the big thing is look how. So it's almost like the Defense Department, right? And you can kind of see the outline of this big pentagon of a defense, right? And the idea is that you have to break through this whole thing. Well, the problem is that when this tackle right here, and I do think that was Sullivan who misses this tackle, and it's so big that it's like not effective defensively. And then I would argue, like, Julie Ertz should step into this space, right? Should have seen that the ball was beat and should be stepping into this space. Not so much to go into the ball, but to sort of stop the forward momentum. Although I would argue a professional foul here at midfield would have probably been really smart, and I would have taken a card for that, right? Because obviously it leads to this, right? Everybody collapsing, and then this is everyone is so concerned about collapsing into goal. Look what ends up happening defensively. Like they all get bottled up, and nobody is looking at players. They're all looking at the ball, which leads to this. Look, again, defensively, nobody's really watching. Reaction is late. Step forward at that point, through the legs, goal, far post. Right? That to me is, again, watching the ball. I don't know. All right, let's keep rolling along. This is a highlight. That's the goal. This one, which one's this? This is actually a good play. Problem again is who's running, like, again, watch this. There's only one run being made. There's only one run being made against the four. I think it's four defenders, or maybe a fifth that I can't see. But right. And instead of going to goal at this point, they're dropping back in support. So you have these two right here on the outside of the 18, and on this far end, which would have been the money ball if you ask me. But instead, dribble through. You only have one player up to make a play to goal, but pretty well covered. And then it just goes out for a corner. Yeah. Again, I think, right, set pieces. I think that's the U.S. is going to win. They're going to do that set pieces, obviously. I think that's the big. I think that's the best play for the U.S. So this is the tackle on Haran that sort of changed the game for the U.S. Everybody got mad and hyped up and angry and wanted to, really go at it. So, and she actually scores on this play, obviously. So, which is a great header. Like that's picture perfect, right? Like whoever's near post opens up a little space trying to get to it. I like that one. Right there. I mean, and she's running 20 yards for that, right, at a full sprint. So I thought that was really good. And then this one was the off. I guess the new rules aren't implemented because I think she would be on in the new rules where you need complete daylight. This, right? She may have she may have I don't know, maybe off regardless whatever the rule. Okay, this one is a terrible cross, off balance cross. But again, this is the thing, right? Like 5 defenders back to the 3 forwards, 1 on rushing, a 6 defender coming in, and these two late runners. Like they were very good at that, right? They were very good at playing with 5 midfielders, 2 that will drop defensively, or 2 that will go forward into the attack, and just in support of their either defense or the attack. And then they also did this thing where, hey, you had these 5 of the 5 midfielders, 2 are stepping into attack. When that would happen, the center back would step into the middle a little bit higher and almost act like the holding, the CDM for, while the ball was up on the US's end, and then conversely, it would have a forward drop into the middle, rather than staying so high, so that they would end up being like the attacking midfielder. And I don't think the U.S. had an answer for that. They couldn't figure out how come they were always outnumbered in the midfield, or why they couldn't get anything happening into the midfield. Because at every time, all times, any part of the transition to play, there were 5 players that were making it difficult. And then defensively, they were quick to drop 5 back into the defensive end. And again, in the U.S. is here in this play right here, 5 to U.S.'s 3, and double teamed here on the left. I mean, that's really hard. I mean, I'm really good, and I still think that's hard. All right, let's see. Again, unbalanced cross, everything's forced. This is a wonderful play, if you ask me, right? Again, this was the play earlier that I think it was Alex Morgan. She had the play and then drilled it across, and then it got cleared out, and then she tried. Like, this is the play that, similar, the ball she should have been looking for, to me, is the pass of death, which drop it back to the 12. And in this case, I think this is a goal. If, I don't know who, whether it's Ertz, I think it's Ertz, who goes down and blocks the ball and puts it to a corner. So here it is, this one. Right? Like, what a ball. Like, nobody, right? Defender, back to the play. Ertz in the middle, far post covered, but the ball's going where? To that pass of death, and suddenly, like, oh, where's that going? Ertz tries to respond. Right, she's the only one. The outside back on the right is late. Right there. Defender marking their player is late to step because she didn't realize that was going to be the play. And right here, right, if Ertz doesn't go down, that's a look to goal, right? Yeah, I thought that was a great play. And like I said, I think that's what Alex Morgan should have done, is look for that drop pass. But the problem is that the U.S. wasn't stepping high enough on the attack throughout. So, yep, that to me is a. This is probably, I think, the best play for the U.S. Right, quick, into space, players running. Yeah, it's a 1v1, but you get behind. It's just out too wide. This was another bomb. That was a goal right there. As I mentioned, set pieces are going to be where teams just break apart against the U.S., I think, just because they can play them and they got the guys. This is heads-up play by the goalkeeper. Just so many miscommunications like that, right? Let me toggle that back. And some of my video clips that I'll do later, same thing. Like this to me is a misunderstanding of who's moving where or how to drop a ball back, right? Right there, like to nobody, and then that's 3-pointed, right? Jets need a field goal kicker. And I think that's half. Oh no, that was the whole game. That was the whole game. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to just move on to some individual clips that I thought were really interesting. That kind of, again, hindsight. This is all hindsight. Like I wasn't expecting these to shine through. So let me run through those real quick. Okay, so like I said, minute 20 in. Here we go. Well, it's not going to play now. There we go. Okay. Innocuous ball. Bad pass back. Keeper goes to clear it. Trap. Hey. I bring it down. Should be an easy ball, right? Like, should be an easy ball right here. For an easy pickup. One touch out wide. You could see the run happening. I mean, that's money, right? This is the part that confused me. Like, oh, must be early game jitters, right? Look, a misunderstanding as to who takes the ball. And I get it's small and it's not a big deal and all of that. But at this level, I don't know. I'm surprised. I'm surprised. Instead, Netherlands grabs it and starts doing what they did really well in the first half. All right, so let me play that again so you can see it. All right, ball through, bing. Hey, you got it, I got it, you got it. Oh, nobody's got it. Yeah, that. In hindsight, I'm like, yeah, that's not normal, right? And should have been. Yeah. So. All right, hopefully you can see this because it's sort of the recordings are a little bit kludgy, so I apologize. Let me start this one. Now, just the run up to this on my notes, right? Like, this is some of the things I wrote between that clip that I just showed you about the misunderstanding. So in this is 3:30. So within 2 minutes, this is what I wrote. I wrote no positional discipline, bunching up, very central, bunched up, no width except in second half because I had seen the game multiple times. They had to deal with a lot of pressure. And the Netherlands had numbers in the midfield at all times. So let's look at this one together. So look at, look at this. This is going forward. 1 up top of the screen, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Really going forward to the U.S. is 4, right? And really, I mean, if they're trying to work out of the pressure, out of the situation, like this is the kind of setup that you're looking for. She, I think, makes a bad mistake of just trying to go down the wing. Let me just see. That might be it. Yeah. And you can see that Netherlands is just pressuring really well all over the field in the first half, and I think it threw the U.S. off. Okay, so goofing around, I figured out a new feature to try to hopefully make this a little bit better. So let's just roll to the next one. So, um, one of the things I noticed in the game, especially the first half. I think it changed a little bit in the second half, and definitely after the incident that sort of turned around or inspired the U.S. for the I'll say 20 minutes of that last part of the second half. I just noted just runs were really vertical. There was no opening of space. Um, you know, Going east to west, it was all you were running north and south, and so just to recap some notes that I wrote. Flat lines defensively. Um, uh, it wasn't really efficient with space. It was too tight. And again, I think passes into space were really tricky because the way the U.S. was playing, it just made it really difficult. And this is an example. Um, Here's an example of it. So, all right. So hopefully this comes out. That's really sketchy here, but anyhow, right? Like if you go back on this one, see the replay on this. Right. U.S. wins the ball, goes out wide. All right. Ball gets played long to the left, and then an attempted through ball. Right. An attempted through ball to the out wide, which I think was Rodman. Smith receives the ball, turns, and then brings the ball up and looks to play this wide. But I would just sort of look at the runs when she gets the ball. Right, they're going north and south. I think that's Alex Morgan right there. You got the three defenders. The defender is beat, but look at the line, and she's trying to play this through ball here. But because of the runs, the space is really limited, and I think that was symptomatic of a lot of the attack for the U.S. Yeah, granted it goes out for a corner, but I thought it could that highlights sort of one of the issues that I think I had. So. Okay, the video's blurry, and I'm breaking the law here, but right, like this highlights another is a play. I think it was the 25th minute, right? Like you got four defensive backs, you got some midfielders dropping in. Look at the gap between the U.S. front line. So one up top left, in the center, Alex Morgan, Rodman on the right. And then these folks trailing back here. That's a good 20 yards between the space, and between them they got these defenders. And so it's like the three against the four backs, right? Picture perfect. But everything that's happening is vertical, and so the forwards are running straight, and it's almost like trying to thread a needle in a haystack. I'm not sure if that's the right analogy, but you get my point. So watch this play develop. And the first ball comes across, and it's really static and flat. And, the Netherlands is in a great defensive posture. And, they might lose one-on-one battles, but defensively as a team, they're all there. They have 6 players back to 3 offensive players for the U.S. All right. Ball comes across, gets cleared out, and there you go. I just think that just, again, north-south part of that. This is halftime. Rose Lavelle comes on, the only substitution. U.S. didn't make any, controversy. U.S. didn't make any in the second half, which did surprise me. But here you go. Rose Lavelle comes in at halftime. And then they do this. And yes, I'm not saying anything because I want this to play forward. So subs are made, halftime. Look at this. I mean, this is just now everyone gets why I sometimes will say like this. I mean, the game itself, especially the first 60 minutes, just looked like a really good UCNL game for the U.S. But I'm not sure you could see this. This is like the Slovakis V, and I don't know if that's a real thing, but I remember a movie in American football movie. They did the Slovakis V, and that's where everybody lines up as a V and just blocks, and then the runner sort of sits in the center of it, and nobody can tackle. And so this is the Slovakis V of soccer, as far as I'm concerned. You have three wingers on the left. You know, I mean, this is just, I just don't understand. Don't understand why this is considered effective. I mean, this is a national team on a World Cup stage. Let's see if this gets going again. Here we go. Right? Like, you got the three on the left. They drop it back to Julie Ertz. Right, yeah, I think that's Rodman on the far right. I don't think she came out. Right, like, drop it back to Julie Ertz, who then does the good kick. Doesn't even kick it on the side of where all of the forwards are going. Let's watch that again because this is precious. All right, good kick. Doesn't kick it really well. Isolates. The Dutch are back there. Are back defending. I don't think I need to say anything else about that. I'll just say, check out my videos, worst play, and then my most recent injured time where I talk about the quality of these kickoffs. Okay, this play I think is in the 68th minute, and I actually thought it was really good. And in my notes, I wrote, you know, Netherlands starts to chase, and how do you start to chase? Usually the ball moves quicker, among other things. They're losing a lot of possession, which wasn't happening in the first, I'll just say, first half. And the U.S. has these stretches where they're really moving the ball quickly, and that they're not, doing the, hey, I win the ball, I'm going to beat somebody, or I'm going to go just. They're actually try to maintain possession and get forward that way. So let's play this. This is a really good segment. Like 1, 2, back. Now back through as they're chasing. And look at all that space they just created. Keep going, keep going. Okay, now it closes down. They get out wide further. I don't think anything comes of this. But, look, yeah, they drop it back. But look at the Netherlands. They wanted to press the whole game, and now we're taking advantage of it. Okay, press. Press all you want. So I thought that was a really great, like I said, 68th minute. I mean, you guys could probably watch better video of this, but I thought that's what the U.S. needed more of, not less of. So, this is the last one I got. Like I said, hopefully you can watch. I think this is the 76th minute. And one of the things I noticed that I really liked is when Lavelle in the second half, which she needs to be in, but I just don't think she's fit or 100% fit. I don't know the backstory, but I think calf or something like that. But when she gets on, she tends to be a lot more dynamic, much more technical, but also just a little bit more dynamic in sort of where she goes. And in this video, she did it a number of times, and I don't think they realized that the Netherlands didn't know how to stay balanced. And as a result, it just sort of opens up space. So she likes to play on the right. Lavelle, through the cap and sense of a play, comes left, receives the ball, and then it just opens up all of this space because the Netherlands is so concerned with Lavelle that they forget, right? They forget that they got to keep a shape and cover left. And I thought if we could have done more of this, and she did it a number of times, like drifting left and opened up that space. And I kept saying, man, that's the trick, right? Can you do that on a regular basis where have her play right? The expectation is she goes right, but then does this drift out left, and then how does the team react? And the Netherlands just, because I think they tried to, like, to a certain extent, double mark her, and as a result, you were losing players on the weak side. So here's this play. Goes. She wins it. This is her. She keeps coming left, runs left, and then look at this space wide open on the far side. And I think that's sort of that dynamic movement that I think was missing. And in this case, I thought we should have done it 100 times over, just because it was so effective. When we were playing quick, right, like sort of moving the ball. And Lavelle would come left. I just thought that was fantastic. So maybe what I'll do, if I can transcribe, I've been really busy lately. My corporate overlords really expect me to do their job and not my YouTube influencing. I tried to explain to them, but they're having none of it. But maybe I'll try to transcribe my notes, and I don't, maybe see if there's a way I can do it easily. Just really quick, what, going through, and I spent, this is like 2 days in the making since the game, and kept going through my notes, and here's some of the observations that I just sort of wrote down in hindsight, looking through my notes and whatnot. So first part, especially in the first half, they played very narrow, right? Very much down the middle, bunching up, both offensively and defensively, and I thought that was a big part of the problem. I do think they stretch it out wide a lot more in the second half. I'm going to say this, and I said it in my injured time where I said I think there's a problem, not a problem, but I think the rest of the world is catching up. And I thought it was very obvious, and a lot of folks have commented on it. I think there's a technical deficit going on in U.S. players and U.S. soccer in general versus the rest of the world. The next part is, aside from the enthusiasm and the fighting spirit after the Haran Vanderdonk incident, I'm not sure I would feel so good about this performance and sort of how the U.S. team looked. I was surprised, honestly. I think I expected more. I'm sure they expected more of themselves, but anyhow. Lastly, another bullet, I think you need consistency as a unit and individual performances. I thought players sort of zoned in and out of the game, and not just wait for the big players to make a play to turn it around. Sometimes you need that, but if you start to rely on it, especially in the good games, that's a well that runs dry really quick. And then lastly, who knows what the tactical scheme, makeup, decisions made before the game were. I mean, that's the coaching staff and the players, and if they're bought in, that's fine. So this very well could have been exactly the way they wanted to play it out. But, again, just sort of looking at the history of the U.S. national team, I think it very much shortchanged us in a lot of ways. So, as an outside observer, I'm just telling you what I see. All right, so I'm going to call it a day. I just wanted to try out some different things that I got going. I know it's totally illegal to pilfer video footage from Fox. Maybe they'll be coming after me, or ESPN, whoever it is, like whatever. So I just wanted to test it out. The videos, I tried to give the timings of them, so if you wanted to go back on your own and be able to watch the plays with better video, you can. And anyhow, I'm something I think about doing. I I mean, I'm sort of like losing it, I think. I take notes of games that I watch, and so I have a notebook, and so I got to do something with it. Otherwise, I'm going to really question my sanity. Hope you enjoy, and maybe I'll do just a random game here. I'll try it again and see if I can do it better. All right, peace out. Did I just say peace out? Like what? That's what? Okay. Have a great day. One of those tools and a great starting point is to check out Discover College Soccer Study Table. Now, I've interviewed Matt Baer, who's the founder of Discover College Soccer, before. Really great guy. And you've probably seen his podcast. I've referred to it and recommend anybody to go to check out his interviews with coaches at all levels. That is specifically designed to talk about the recruiting process and the different college programs. He's not talking about himself, he's letting the coaches speak. So with all of that information that he's gathered, he's put together this study table that is a program to help you with your recruiting process that's complete with video course on the recruiting process from start to finish. He has these that are updated spreadsheets that are updated monthly, with contact information and details about every program in the country. That alone is worth its weight in salt. He has a bunch of other resources, email templates, checklists to help you guide you through your own process. Now, the best part is, whereas you can pay thousands of dollars to some of these recruiting services, you can get a lifetime subscription to the study table for less than one night in a tournament hotel. The best part of it is that Matt has his own soccer experience. He's a former college player and college coach. He's talked to over 150 coaches in just the last year, and he has some great insights and has created something that I think is probably very, very useful to a lot of you, and best of all, you get to save time and save money. Now look, I don't recommend people that I don't know or I haven't come to know. I've talked to Matt, as I mentioned, on a number of occasions, and he's probably has the most insightful and, I'll just say, thorough understandings of the recruiting process. Not because he's made it up, but because he's asked coaches across the college game. And he's taken all of that, figured out what the best recommendations from all of those discussions that he had, and put that together into the study table. So if you don't want to spend thousands on recruiting, on a recruiting service, and you have the mind to do it yourself, the Discover College Soccer Study Table is for you. So in the description, you can find a link that will get you 20% off on a lifetime subscription. Or if you go to discovercollegesoccer.com, click on the study table to register and use the discount code SIMPLE, you get to save 20% on your subscription. So with that, good luck.